Well, a very special hello and welcome. And I'm Seth Rice, Senior Concert Artist for Roland Contemporary Keyboards. And it's our pleasure to bring to you this Video Owner's Manual for the VA7. It is an exciting keyboard. Just a couple of things. It has 128 built-in music styles. And if you use the zip disk, there's another 559 styles that's just here on the zip disk. So a total of 687. 3,649 tones. It's just packed full of everything. There's a feature called D-Beam controller that, I'm going to show you how to create a harp sound. The new ribbon controller. It's just so many features. Now, here's what I'd like for you to do, if you would. If you could get your VCR and a television and your remote control close by, and if you are reviewing the video and would like to see a part over, just, use the control and rewind the tape and just explore the video slowly. That's my first thought for you. Now, what I'll do, I'll be back in just a moment and I'll just start exploring the keyboard with you and start just basically the easiest way to get started on the VA7. Okay, now the first part that we're going to explore is the screen itself and just an easy demo, just get you up and running quickly. Now the VA7, of course, has a nice large screen. Let's take a look at that. And you'll see that there's several languages: English, Dutch, Italian, Spanish, French. You'll probably want to keep it on the English. And if you put the zip disk that comes with the instrument in the zip drive, now when we press demo, let's say we demo just the tones. And there's the piano. We can select maybe the brass category. Or if I want to go to reed category, play. This is just a way to just hear some of the sounds. And of course you would want to go through each one of these separately. Now the all demo, this starts with the piano. And actually, then it's going to do a tone, then it's going to do a style, then a variphrase. Let's go and do a style separately. Maybe the swing category. Variety. Okay, so that's what the demo's for. It just gets you around. Of course, the variphrase, I'm sure you've played with some of these. But they're the voices that speak.
I need you. Honey, I need you. Honey, I need you. Honey.
All right. Now I'm going to back out again. And then the easy rooting, this really is very simple. It steps you through the instruments and just gets you up and running. Let's do that. Easy rooting. And it asks you, would you like to be a soloist or, play in a band? Well, a band. And then it asks you the type of accompaniment. Just drums and bass, combo, or a full orchestra. Let's say a full band. And then this, the type of music: romantic, ballroom, heavy. Well, I want to hear romantic. And then here are some styles that it automatically selects, and these arrows here allows you to turn the page. Let's say that we do the ballad. And then select an instrument tone. The vibes is fine. Now when I push finish, it actually has turned on the sync start for me. The arranger's ready to go. All I have to do is maybe just turn on introduction and all of my choices have been set up. See, so that's an easy way to get around it, but you can always start that way if you'd like to. There's actually a section in the instrument that if you don't want that page to come up every time you turn the instrument on, you can turn it off, and it will come up the page that you see right now in the screen that says Style, Tone, User Program. And of course that goes in conjunction with the buttons that's on the right side of the keyboard. And we'll start exploring that, but just want you to take your time and enjoy this video. And I'll be back in a moment and we're going to talk about the tones and the styles and just the different features. Now, the next section I want to explore is this section here. It has the style, the tone, and the user program buttons. And it's how all of these buttons work in conjunction with these three, as well as, if you'll notice in the screen, here it says style, the button, and the screen it says style. It says tone, here it says tone. User program, it says user program in the screen. Now, just a brief note, there are thousands of sounds available on the instrument, and so I'd like for you to remember to refer to page 216 is where the tones start. Okay, 3,649 tones that are available. And then for the music styles, I'll show you how to get into those, but there's additional styles that are available on the disc. Now, let's do this. Is that if I want to select a tone, a couple ways to do it. One, you can press tone. You'll notice in the screen how it shows an A or a B. And each one of these have 8 groups. And each group has 8 selections. Now I can also get to these by pressing tone. In this group, it's on A right now. If I push this, B, A, B. So if I go A, tone 11 is the piano. Or I could have just gone to the screen and go tone A, 11. Let's say we want group B. I can go B, 22 is the flute. Or I could have just as easily gone tone group B, 22. Because you notice actually if you change this, it's changing these lights as well. So they basically work in conjunction with one another. Styles, they can be selected either by the buttons. You can do it like this, or I can select a group, and then we have it. Now you notice there's a C. That is for the zip disk, and the zip disk, came with the instrument. So you can select some of the 559 additional styles that are available from the zip disk as you go. And then user programs. User programs, there's 128 user programs available. Now the user programs, as you know, that's where you can set the instrument up, customize it just like you'd like to have it, and save it into a preset, or it's called user programs. And the user programs are global, and that means they just basically remember everything. All the reverbs and the volumes and thises and that's, it can be remembered in all the user programs. So that's very nice. And once again, you can select them here by selecting, A11 or the group 2, 8 of them set up, 3. These are a few that I have preset. Yeah, I can go to B. Okay. Personally, I like the touch screen, but if you're familiar with using buttons, you're welcome to do that. So this section has explored how to select a style using either the buttons A or B, or use the screen, the tones, or even the user programs. And I may kind of continue just using the screen because I'm just have got into using the screen. It's very easy, very convenient to do that. Okay, so as I come back, I just want to go through just the buttons, the controller button, the effects button, the orchestral button, the one touch. It's just important we go through all of these buttons. So I'll be back in a moment. Okay, now the next button is the part button. And speaking of part or parts, you know that there's 2 sounds for the upper, upper 1, upper 2, lower 1, lower 2. The automatic accompaniment is the automatic drums, automatic bass, and 6 accompaniment parts. A lot of different parts there. Well, there is one button that you can actually push to go to, and it just shows you in the screen all the different sounds that are in the parts. So if we press part in the screen, on the top left it says upper 1 is the jazz guitar. This is what's currently set. Upper 2 is the slow strings, manual drums. We have the variphrase, the melody intelligence, lower 1, lower 2, manual bass. See, a lot of things. as well as all the parts of the styles. You know, the drums that's there, the automatic bass that's set up, and here's the sounds of the 6 accompaniments. Accompaniment 1, let me use my finger, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you can actually change all the accompaniment parts at this point if you want to change the sound of that accompaniment part. You can change it to something else. Yeah, I just want you to know how to get to the different parts, tones that you will be hearing. So upper 1, its tone is jazz guitar. If I want to change that simply, I'll go A, there we go, A1 or 11 rather, and it's the piano. Okay, so parts once again. This is very nice. Then we have the different ways to affect the sound. Is that if we want to add vibrato, add the depth, add the delay to upper 1, upper 2, the lower 1, or even the bass. Okay, you can affect these different, like vibrato, and by using the dial here, I can make the vibrato rate a lot, or I can actually just run my finger down this, and it changes the, you know, because it's a touch screen. Isn't that great? Then there's other things available. These particular features here, there's what's called ADSR, the attack, decay, sustain, release of an instrument. Some of the sounds that are presets, for example, the romantic trumpet has a slow bring-in sound and then a fast let-off. You can change all of this. You can customize it. This is something that you need to explore with, touch, feel, and have fun with. So I'm going to back up one screen. Please don't forget that, is that in some of the screens, see, it says exit or just back up, or just back rather. It doesn't say back up. So that's the basic way to use the part button, is to just take your time. It's best to start a style and maybe use some tones and hear it all happening as we go. Okay, so I'll be back in a moment. Now the next section I would like to cover is the keyboard mode. There's 3 buttons. There's the piano, the arranger, and the others button. But just before I do that, I want to help you out with something, is that the screen right now has the opening display that says demo and easy routing. If you don't want the instrument to power up, you know, having that screen every time, here's how you take that away. You press function menu button, you press the global parameters, near where it says virtual band, turn it off. You touch that on or off, see right there? Turn it off. Now, it always comes up to the main screen. Okay, just thought you'd like to know that. Now, the piano mode, that means it's a full keyboard, and it makes no difference to the tone that you have set up. So if you have like a full string orchestra, well, it's the full keyboard. Okay, so you select any sound, full keyboard. The arranger mode, that's what's going to split the keyboard for you. You have your automatic accompaniment over here and your sounds over here. So let's say we go, I'm going to exit, go back to the main screen. Personally, I like to use the touch screen. You could use the 3 buttons we talked about earlier, but I go to Style, select Scat, well, and there you have it. And I'm going to turn on the introduction, of course. Now the keyboard is split using the arranger. See right there? You can hear the sound. Matter of fact, I want to change the sound on the right hand. We'll put it back to a piano. Okay, this is where this others button comes into play. You'll use it often, I'm sure. So if I press others, you just look in the screen, it's a picture of a keyboard. It's telling us that the split is on C4. Well, I'd rather it be, personally, maybe down on the F sharp, so I can use the left arrow. See how it's going down a step at a time? That's really where I'd like to have it. Gives you more room. gives you more room to play with. And kind of combining things together, always remember that the user programs, it can remember your settings. So if you like the setting, you would save that into a user program. And I'm going to show you how to save it and name it and save it to the disk and all of that later. But the Others button is very important. You know, 'cause also right here in the screen, you see that upper 1 is on. So I get an upper 1. And then upper 2. There's another sound setup. Let's just hear it by itself. It's the electric piano. You remember how you can get back to just see the sounds real quick? You press that part button and it shows you all the sounds that are on. If you want to do that. And then if you want to put a sound on top of the left hand, for example, let's say we would want to have a string sound on the lower. Okay, so we can go to tone. Oh, excuse me, let me go back to just the lower, and then tone. See, it says lower. All right, strings. There's the strings. Okay, so by using the Others, it gets right to the screen. It says I can put 2 sounds on the upper, 2 sounds on the lower. I can select them through the tone button. This is such a helpful menu. Actually, if you want to transpose the key you're in, you can press transpose. It's a picture of a keyboard. And you can transpose just the keyboard itself. I'm basically playing a C chord, but the tone changes. And if you have a disc in the disk drive, naturally, you could actually transpose just the song that's being played, or either or. You could transpose just the song and not the keyboard, or the keyboard and not the song. Very neat. Then, of course, if you have a MIDI instrument coming in, you can put it in the right pitch if you'd like to. So that's a way to get to transpose. Also, I believe in the screen right now you can see this up and down. Well, if you would touch the one touch up, now it transposes. That's just another place to get to transpose. But back to the Others button, transpose. Let's put it back in the normal key, and then we revert back to Others. There's also options. As you may find out as you play that the velocity or the touch of the keyboard is stiff, hard, some word you may use, but it's just not easy enough to play. Well, some people have a heavier touch. So if I change the key touch to maybe medium or even turn it off so there's no velocity, this is where you do it. Right, so I used, let me back up out of that. I used Others, Options, right there, key touch. So I can have it real hard. Let me just go to a piano. Or if I put it on medium, now it doesn't take so much pressure to get it. And you'll notice other features that are just on this page for keyboard options. The lower hold is available. That means if you have like a string sound on lower 1 and a brass sound on lower 2, you can turn it on 1, on 2, off. This is just where it's done. Manual drums. It's kind of like when you're playing drums and you're trying to do a drum roll, how fast it should be to the tempo. This is where that's selected. And upper 2, split. This is really nice. Is that you can have sounds on the left hand, right hand, and have the right hand split twice. Let me do that. Let's go back to that jazz scat that I was using. Jazz scat was singing. Okay, there we go. Now, if you'd like to have, this is so nice, the left hand playing and actually split this right side in 2 places in the other section. So it says upper 2 split. If I press that, I have another sound, don't I? Do we have sounds? now I can have the automatics. So that's very useful. It's kind of like a 3/4 manual type instrument. Is that basically to play the melody? I don't know, some cases you just need a few notes, 5 or 6 note area to play the melody of a song. You put a split, have another tone ready. So that's what we're having the upper 2 split for, and upper 2 to the left side. That means my sound on the upper 2 is going to be on the left side. And then the lower hold, once again, is available for sounds that you would have in the left hand. I don't have that on when I play the left hand. You only hear the strings, and then when I release, it goes away. But if I have lower hold, now I remembered it. Okay, to continue with the Others button, there's just a lot of features that it does, so we want to explore them all. I'm going to press the Others button, and you'll notice in the top corners here on the right it says Keyboard Mode, and here it says Arranger Mode. So we're going to explore all of that. Let's just talk about these few features that's on the left. The Arranger Dynamic. For example, I selected a boogie style. Now every time you play a chord, the background stays the same. But if I use dynamic and play soft, see, some of the backgrounds get lower. If I press harder, play the same chord soft. That's what dynamics is for. And naturally, I'll just turn that off. The arranger hold, sometimes you'll have a song that you want to play and there'll be like a no chord and you need to stop the background but play the right hand. That's what arranger hold would be. As long as you hold down your hand, the accompaniment there. If you release, drums continue. Very useful feature. And just remember that you don't use these all the time, just some of the time. Okay, so you kind of pick the songs you want it with. Now, there's also in this window the left, hold, right, and off. Currently, we're having left keyboard. You have the left side of the keyboard. It's playing the chords. Also notice there's the intelligent, piano style, and standard. Intelligent allows you to play single finger chords or 3-note chords. The standard, here you have to play 3-finger chords. But just remember, if you're single finger or 3-finger, intelligence always works. This is really neat. You notice it says tempo. Well, you can have the rhythm slow down or speed up, and ready to slow down or speed up. This is where you, put the how much it's going to slow down or how much it's going to speed up in percentages. Then when you touch this, the rhythm will slow down. Then you push this one, the accelerate, and then it speeds back up. And we have some interesting parts for the intros and endings. You can actually musically change the intro, and you'll notice in the owner's manual how it explains that if an intro is using major chords, but if you start off with a 6th chord, now it adds that note into the introduction arrangement. It's very, very nice to use that. And the fill-in, it's always like a full measure, or it can be a half measure. That's pretty self-explanatory. Now the next icon in the screen is accompaniment wrap. This is very interesting because sometimes when you play chords, let me just start something going. Specifically the bass line. Bass line starts getting higher. Well, in some cases you may want the bass line to drop actually maybe an octave, or even if you have the keyboard transposed, that will make the accompaniment do different things. This accompaniment wrap, let's do like the G chord, A chord, now B chord. I'm going to turn the bass off. Did you hear that drop? Its entire bass line dropped an entire octave. So that's kind of a neat feature, depending if you've transposed the keyboard or the chord structure you're playing. You may just say, gosh, the bass goes too high or the accompaniment part's too high. Here, you can fix it. Now, the chord family assign, really neat. There are different musical patterns for like the major, minors, and sevenths. So if you just play a major, bass line's changing. All right. Now, for example, if you like the sixth chord, it's kind of a favorite of yours, its pattern and its that extra note, you can add that into every time you play a minor. It can always be a minor sixth. This is the area that you would do it. You would assign it to the minors or the majors. Now, we'll go back one page. And just to kind of back up on one thing, it says Dynamic Arranger Edit. The way I demonstrated it earlier, I was just showing you that if you play harder or play softer, it brings parts in. Here you can actually make if you want that accompaniment to come in really loud, you can at that point. If you want the accompaniment 2 to be louder, okay, so you can customize it at that point. Now I want to continue and explore these effects and features of just the Others button. Now, octave. Here once again, depending on the sounds you would have layered with the lower 1 or lower 2, or even the upper 1 or upper 2, they may sound too deep or too high. Here you can change their octave. Say I'm changing upper 1 up to 4 octaves, the upper 1 rather, upper 2. So you can customize. Once again, these features are all in here for just effects. On some songs you may need it, some you may never have to bother with that feature, but it's good to know that they're here. Plus, remember, all of this kind of gears around the user programs, is that each user program can remember individual settings. So if you want to have the bass assigned to do one thing at a certain user program, you can. Then when you press the next one, it goes back to normal operation. Portamento. To tell you what I need to do, I actually need to put on 2 sounds. So I'm going to go to Effects and go to the keyboard mixer. I just want to make sure my volumes are up. Okay. Now, back to Others. Now I have 2 sounds. Like say I have a piano and electric piano together. Okay. And we're going to get into some of these options again. Portamento. Tell you what that is if you're familiar with the glide, it's kind of a rough changing of notes. But if I start changing this, I'm actually using the dial here. Hear that? In many cases, you might want to use that with brass sounds together, or that's very effective. But it's a fun feature to glide in and out of the 2 sounds, and they can be monophonic, meaning that they'll only play a single note. Let's put this. I can't play. It's only playing 1 note. But if I put it on poly, now it will. There we go. Okay, just a brief demonstration of that. Please explore that. That's a lot of fun. Now this upper 1 linked to song, this is very good. As you're setting up your user programs, and let's say you're setting those up to go and play a song from either a zip disk or a 3.5-inch disc, you can actually tell the user program to select the song for you. It automatically finds it if you have the song link on. So that's an excellent feature. Okay, so the Others button is kind of a key feature. I think you'll agree that this is where you have the selection upper 1, 2, lower, their effects, and right on down the line. Now, I'll be back in a moment, and I think we'll just go ahead and talk about melody intelligence. This next feature we're going to talk about is melody intelligence. And melody intelligence is very nice, is that for years the keyboards have been able to take care of the left hand to get all the automatics if you use one finger. We know this. But normally for the right hand, if you just played one note, it will just come out as one note. And to get that professional sound, you have to play multiple fingers. Well, not everybody does that, and so we want you to know is that melody intelligence not only plays multiple tones for you and sounds for the right hand, but it does different kinds. Let me press and hold melody intelligence. In the screen, you see it says strings. Of course, I've set it up to do this. Now I have a whole orchestra of strings, or if I press romance. We have block, just another style. Duet actually sets up 2 trumpets for you. Organ is very pretty. So that's what melody intelligence does for you. It actually brings in that full professional sounds. There's many choices to choose from. Use that, effectively. Not with every song. I don't think that's the point with all these features, but you can just enjoy them. Now, when I come back, we're going to talk about the button that says controllers. The button that's marked controllers. Let's take a look in the screen here. You notice there's the D-beam, the bender, modulation, touch control, and aftertouch. Let's do the D-beam just first. Is that the D-beam is just to the left of the screen, and it's called D-beam controller. And you have to have the on-off button on, but these are just different things that we can have it do. For example, I have it set for 3-octave arpeggio or octave 3 arpeggio. So now if I just put my hand over the D-beam and get an arpeggio, let's say we have a background going. I know many of you would like to slow down or speed up the tempo. Let's listen to the tempo. Back to normal. Slow down. So it's very effective on that type of effect. You can have the arpeggio up one. Now, there are page buttons, and there's more. You can do the octave, take the chord, and change the octave for you. Do the fill-in for you. Delete the accompaniment, delete the bass, or just the drums. Many things that can be done using the D-beam controller. Now, all of these effects basically are in conjunction with others. For example, the pitch bend. It can only, that's the bender that's on the left of the keyboard. It can only affect the upper one, the upper 2. You can bend some drum sounds, lower sounds. Okay? Not that you're going to use it all the time, but here it is. Modulation is actually that extra vibrato. Okay. The modulation can only affect upper, lower, special sound effect sound, lower 1, lower 2. Just a feature you may want to use sometimes. Touch controller. That is this little slider that we have. I'm going to actually change my presets because I've set some of these up. I just want you to hear this. Is that on the touch controller? Yeah, I have that set for 12, up to 12 on the touch controller. The pitch bend, I have it set for 12. And then aftertouch is, well, that's exactly what it means. Is after you press the note, you can have additional effects come in. So if I have aftertouch on, I want to bring in brightness or various types of volume effects, or whatever the case may be, I can have that using Aftertouch. And here's some of the effects that you would want to explore with. Now you notice it has a picture of a hand, and here on the screen it's a picture of a foot. So now we have more. In the back of the instrument you can put a sustain pedal. Well, once again, it can sustain upper, lower sounds, the drums, whatever the case may be. Foot switch. It's another place you can put a foot switch into, and I have one hooked up actually. Okay, so it's turning on the drums. And if I'd wanted to do a fill, go to the basic. Right, do the ending. That's nifty, isn't it? And then the volume pedal. It can just do everything, a total volume control, or once again, if you want to play and have expression with a sound and not affect the rest of the keyboard, this is where you would assign that. The metronome actually has its own page, and just depending if you want to have it do a count in of 2 bars, 1 bar, 2 bars, right? On, off, you have to turn it on. And then if you want to send it out to the external instruments, this is where you regulate all of that. Even in the song mode, if you're going to play a song, you can have a count in come in. 1 or 2 bars. Basically, those pages didn't change a whole lot, their operation, but song. And even if you're recording, do you want to have the count in and then the metronome? And then the user program composer. If you're composing your own style, that might be a strong suggestion that you use the metronome just to keep your timing correct. And then Veriphrase. We're going to talk more about this, but you can actually change the effects of Veriphrase at this point. In Veriphrase, like I say, we'll continue with that at a later point, but it's a very neat feature, and there's built-in veriphrases and additional veriphrases. So just kind of actually as a recap with this, I can't express enough to you how you don't use all of these features all the time. There's no way. But if you're hearing a song that has a special whatever, here's where you could add certain effects. Okay, so I'll be back in a moment and we'll talk about the Effects button. All right, now Effects. Just as the word implies, it really affects a lot of the instrument. You may say, gosh, how do I regulate the volumes of different instruments? Or how do I turn some of that background down, this or that? This is where you do it, Effects. So if we notice in the screen, it says Keyboard Mixer in the bottom left, but it says Volume, Pan, Reverb, Chorus, Delay. See, it says Single Part. Currently, this is like showing us 4 parts at one time. Then I can page over, 4 more, right? Okay. But if I just want to see only the upper, I'd press single part. So this is where you can see the individual parts. Upper 1, upper 2, the lower 1, lower 2 in a full page. Now if we press this, it goes right back to the full screen. And it's very neat to use some of these volume changes. How would you use them effectively? Well, let's say that we want to take mixer, style mixer. That's the backgrounds. And we want to turn some of these volumes down. Right? Because you don't want to have them all. Well, not all the time. Just part of the background. And of course, I have a lower sound on with this. This is where you regulate these. And the screen being touch, actually do this. Also, effects means if you want to have reverb on one part and take the reverb off of another part, have a sound over to the right and have another sound to the left of the keyboard. That's what panning is all about. Chorus actually takes a sound and expands it. Right? If you have one trumpet on and you add chorus to it, it just sounds like more trumpets by using that. And delay could be, I don't know, phrased as like an echo effect, is that you play and then you hear it a couple more times. But the instrument certainly allows you to customize basically everything on the instrument. Okay, so this is where you start doing this customize. Effects itself, wow. This is just more of it that's available. This manual effects, M effects, I'm going to talk about that at a later point because it's a knob that's on the instrument. But yeah, that's where you can do Leslie sounds and extra sustains or whatever for an instrument. And then this right here indicates veriphrase. It's like a check mark with lines to it. That's the emblem, the logo, trademark, whatever we want to call it, for veriphrase. So once again, you can add special here. And then global volume, overall volume. You know, how can I get to different things fairly quickly? Right here, because this is upper, lower, accompaniment, bass, drums. That's your basic 5 families. If you've gone and turned down the bass and set the different volumes, you're welcome to do that. But here is a quick way to get to all of the parts. Now, I want to just tell you one more thing about this, is that in utilizing these, take advantage of these, enjoy them, and play a song with maybe drums and bass and build in another part, because now you have 6 accompaniment parts on the VA7. Now, this page right here, audio in, you can actually plug a microphone into the back of the instrument. And there's a little switch that says line or it says microphone. If you're just using it for voice like I am, put it on microphone. If you're using it for the veriphrase, you might want to put it on line if you're using a sound from a CD that you're trying to record into the VA7. But if it's just a microphone, always put it on mic. And the volume's back there, the master volume. But here is where you can select reverb for your voice. You can send your voice to the left side, send it to the right side. Okay, add chorus to your voice. It just, set that up specially. And do remember this, that the audio in, just like all the other individual sounds, they're remembered on each individual user program. So you have one user program with echo on your voice, one without, one that your voice goes to the right side, one to the left side. You can totally customize and have a whole lot of fun with this. So that's really what the effects button is about. It takes you through the features to customize the instrument, and just enjoy this part of the instrument. Now I'll be back, and we're going to talk about the one-touch button. Well, that's kind of where everybody gets started and they utilize this feature. Now the next button is the one-touch button, and this feature just sets everything up for you. It's really nice. It will turn on the sync start, the auto, the introduction, just select sounds for you. Let's kind of explore that. First, let's select a style, and I'm going to press the screen, the style, and well, cool jazz is fine. Then when I press the one touch, this screen comes up, and it already has different instruments selected for us. So let's say we use the first instrument, and just by doing that, I'll play. Change sounds. Hey, do you notice it says upper 1, upper 2? Okay, to get to the upper 2, remember you can go to the others button, upper 2. Now, one touch is always going to select guitar. Okay, so that's how we're going to be able to change back and forth with our sounds. Also, it says memorize. You can actually customize these one touches. These are just factory suggested settings. When I would push a waltz, they would change, or a bossa nova, they change. But if you want to actually customize your settings, you can change them around and push memorize, and then execute, and then it remembers what you've set up for the cool swing, if that would be the case. Okay, and then the cancel options, one-touch cancel options. Well, you know, when you select a style, it finds a tempo that's been pre-programmed. So if you're playing from a swing to a bossa nova, and it would be 2 tempos, and you don't want it to jump on tempos, you press that, then it will stay at the original tempo. Okay, it'll stay at the original keyboard mode. It won't change around. So if you have it set on piano style, and then you would change to a different style, it probably would go right back to split keyboard. You say, nope, I want you to stay exactly where we were. And then don't turn on the sync start, and don't turn on the introduction. So you have options to, you know, customize it as you see fit. Now, to go along with the styles in One Touch, you know, like I said, it selects the styles for you, is that there's a button just to the right of One Touch, and it says Orchestrator. Now, each musical background has, like we had said, 6 parts. We go Orchestrator, and we look in the screen. If I press 1, makes the band kind of simple. See, it's like one person. A little more. Changing the drums. Full orchestra. So that makes no difference what style, if you're on the Latin styles or whatever. Here's where you can change the band around a little bit. Also, the style morphing effects right here. This is the style that I selected, was the cool jazz. And it shows the drums, the bass, and the accompaniment parts. But, you know, I've also selected the boogie. If I want to use the boogie bass line to go along with this, changed the bass line. If I want to use the accompaniment part of the boogie for the cool jazz. So the combinations, gosh, I don't know how many there are. There's hundreds, thousands of combinations, because there's, you know, over 600 styles, so you can borrow from each one. And of course, the first style was selected this way, and then my second style, I can select it here. So we can do something really strange and have, for example, cool jazz with the rockin' 3. You'll find some very nice combinations. Once again, you can remember all of this in the user programs. Okay, so I just wanted to explore that One Touch feature and the Orchestrator feature. You'll find out to you know, get different styles and backgrounds. This is where you get to it. All right, so I'll be back in a moment, and we'll just continue on. Now, the 2 buttons just below the One Touch, it says User Program, up or down. And here it says Free Panel. Let's talk about that. Is, for example, have this set up for an arrangement of like Gentle on My Mind. So I'm going to go ahead and start this. And in the screen, you notice I have Gentle 1, 2, 3. These are my changes. Well, I can touch the screen, or I can just go up, and it changed it for me, down. Okay, so, you know, if you haven't touched the screen and you're not in the user program section, go up. Also, just so you know, for my first preset, I've turned off many of the accompaniment parts. Just the guitars there, you know, as opposed to the whole orchestra. Well, if you've done that and you just want to get back to everything, if you press Free Panel, it turns everything back up to a preset volume. Okay, so it kind of gives you a place to start with. Also, probably see this little line goes right up here. It says transpose. If you would hold down, let's just turn on one of our sounds. And what you're going to hear, this is very unique to the VA7. If I go 1 touch up, It actually transposed, but you don't hear that until you key the key again. The reason for that, for example, from 3 to 4, I have a transpose built in. Okay. See, so that allows you, actually my transpose was from 4 to 5, but the point is that you can press the transpose, but you don't hear it. Up. Now when I key, then it comes in. Great feature, great feature. Okay, so I just thought I'd explore those two buttons with you. User program, up or down, or the free panel, and how they work in conjunction with one touch doing transpose, just on a manual quick change right there. Now, if you'll notice in the screen, we've talked about this, and we'll always keep referring back to it, is that there's the style, the tone, and the user program. And I've talked about these user programs a lot. We're going to basically work from the screen, but just remember on the far right of the keyboard, it's like the most far right button, it says user program. You can select them from there. But you actually set your user programs up in the screen. So I'm going to press user program. And I've been working with some settings that I preset. And, you know, for example, I have this all ready to go. This is what's so unique about this, is that if you want to play a song and have multiple sound combinations, well, you may find it not as easy to live change, right? You can have them set up in here. If I go up, you remember the up and down? I go up again. See, that preset or user program only changed the left hand with strings. We'll go up one more time. It actually brings in a French horn section. And let's go to my next preset, which I have set for a key change. With a choir. You remember the D-beam? And so that particular one, I have the harp set up in. This is just really neat. So please use these user programs effectively, because there are 128 of them that you can set up. Save it on the disk, set up another 128, set it here on a disk. Now, also, is you see how it says A1, there's 8, A2, 8, 3, 8 of them. It's just right on down the line. So I'm not, just giving a professional suggestions. Use them. 8's plenty for a song, and it really gets you involved with the instrument. And the disc just holds many, many sets of the user program. So it's the way to work. Now, one other thing about these user programs, here it says song and MIDI link. Let's talk about the song link. I talked about this earlier, is that I can actually enter the song name that's on the disc. I have to have the song on the disc, and then it will find that song, if I press a certain user program. So once again, kind of just makes everything easy. You don't have to go user program, load a song. You just press user program. It finds the song, push play. We're ready to go. So please take advantage of the user programs. Now, the screen itself is, has these major icons on it: style, tone, user program. But it also has a little keyboard. So if I'm playing a single note, it actually has a little keyboard that shows me the notes that I'm playing. Okay, you have metronome, tick-tock, that's available. basically it's showing me that I've transposed. If you remember, I was using the user program. Let's just go back to one that's in a regular key. Now that went away. It said transpose. Shows me I have an upper sound on the flute. This is the name of my user program. I put the L, meaning that I have a sound on the lower keyboard. These are just thoughts for you. Now to name a user program, you notice in the screen it says memorize. If I press that, then we can select what we want. We can put it on B33, and then this moves the cursor over. There's a pad if you want to change the name. We have upper or lower case. Yeah, these are changing. Big letters, small. Okay, so, and then if that's what you want, you press execute. Of course, you have a delete, backs it up. You want a space in there, or insert. Yeah, this is how you name it. But once you have named it, you press execute, and then it saves it. Now, most importantly, it saves it to the internal memory of the instrument, the 128 that are here. My suggestion is, as you start setting up your 128, save those onto a disk. And to save them on the disk, I'll just briefly tell you how to do that. You press the function menu button just to the lower right of the screen, press zip, and actually, you can save them internally. User programs, you can save them on a floppy disk rather, or on a zip. And then it says factory. Well, I wouldn't want to do that. I would want to, actually save. Yeah, I can name it. That's the name that it gives you, but I don't know. Doesn't mean anything to me. So, I'd change the name to something that makes sense. Once I get the name I like, press execute, and it saves that 128 into the zip disk at this point. By the way, speaking of the zip disk, in this area, you can, save styles, save songs, call up songs, okay, save your user program, an entire MIDI set, Vera phrases, some recordings that you've done. They ultimately need to be saved. And we suggest that you use the zip disk, because a zip disk equals like 70 3.5-inch discs. So it has a lot of more memory. So don't forget the zip disk that came with it. It's not the zip disk that you would use. This one has styles on it. You'd get another zip disk, okay, that's blank. And you'll need to format that. And that information is in the owner's manual, how to format the zip disk. So at this point you've saved your phrases, but then if you want to come back and load your different user programs, your Vera phrases, well, load your different things. Let's say, for example, user programs. Okay, that's where you would do all this. And to eject the disk, you're probably used to having the button that you push on the disk drive and it pops out the disk for you. But a zip disk, you have to go to this page, press eject. You'll hear it. There you go. And it ejects the disk out of the keyboard. Also, here on this page, you can format a disk. You can copy. This is really nice. You can have 2 disks in here, 3.5, or a zip disk, and copy everything from the 3.5 to the zip, and even rename files. So that's very, very special. I kind of incorporated some more stuff with the user programs, but they all kind of go together, that you need to set the user programs up, save them to disk, and then how do you call them back up, or it's called loading the user programs into the instrument. Okay, so I'll be right back and we'll continue on. Now the next 3 features I'd like to talk about are the dial and the data button and the tempo tap button. Okay, so let's talk about those. The dial is fairly self-explanatory. If you look in the screen, you'll see the tempo change as I turn this at this point. You remember we went to others and under the options and kind of got to the portamento that I used the dial. See it changing in the screen? There. Or at this point, if I press the data button, there's a keypad that comes up. So I want my tempo to, my portamento rather, to be this much. Enter, exit. That's where you would use this. I'm using the dial again to back out of that. But data is very effective. If it's a value type number you need to enter, normally you can press the data button. And then the tempo tap, this is like super neat. As you know, if we select a music style, slow bossa nova 1, it selects a tempo. Let me do the intro. This is preset tempo. But you say, you know, I want to play a song this fast. 1, 2, 3, 4. Notice his numbers changed. Let me do that again. I'm going to play that same style, maybe just a little slower. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's called tap tempo, exactly what it says. You can change it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Isn't that nifty? Even during a song, if you're playing and you want to have a quick tempo change, just count it and tap it in. So that's the way the dial and the data and the tempo tap button work. Now the next button I'd like to talk about is the function menu button right here. You know, actually I kind of got into that earlier just a little bit, but I do want to explore its features. So you know, we talk about global parameters. These are just features that, well, they're very important. The master tuning of the instrument, right? We can, I don't know if you can hear that or not, but the sound. Basically, you'd use that only if you're playing with another instrument that's in tune, but not in perfect pitch. Still has to be in tune. And you won't play the VA7 along with that. And so by doing that, I can go to A440. That's normal right there, okay? Keyboard mode. These are just, if you've changed things around, and you say, gosh, I'd really like to just get back to the way the factory had all the tones set there. And, you know, the different parameters, I just want to start over again. I want to get the mixer just at the very beginning. Okay? Kind of goes to default. You know, as well as Veriphrase. The Veriphrase, we've talked a little bit about it. I'm still going to show you more about it. But Veriphrase is where you can record yourself, and then I'll play it back. But there are some parameters that you have to set, because normally it's recorded on a single note. And then if you want it to play multiple notes, you have to set certain things up. This is a place where we can set some of the parameters to work with. Also, you notice it says style link. Well, if you select a certain style, they'll call up a certain Veriphrase. This is very neat features, the way these all kind of intertwine together. Okay, so I just wanted to cover these various functions with you. I think we did this, the floppy disk and the zip disk. I've put a new disk in here. This is my disk of user programs, but I have some styles. Internal styles are from the floppy. I don't have a floppy disk in the instrument, but and then from the zip, see, I do have some there. Songs, well, I have many songs in the disk. Okay, that's one. User programs, I think we just did that. The MIDI set, you would have that. Veriphrases. Well, I have a couple of Veriphrases, and I'll be going over later on. Okay, so that's that part of the function menu. Supertones. Now, supertones are super. Here's what it is above the style, tone, and user program buttons on the far right are 5 buttons, and they say supertone. and they're large buttons, is that the factory has preset some sounds for us. Our second sound. Now you notice the screen? And number 5. These are from the factory. So if you're noticing, I'm on number 5, but there's 8 choices. Now I'm on number 4, but there's eight choices. Saxophone. Let's go to number 3, the guitar. Jazz. Number 2, well, Fender Rhodes. Jazz organ. I'm sure you hear that tremolo. That's utilizing the M-FX knob, manual effects knob, because we had set the rotary sound. And sounds have manual effects already preset in them. You're welcome to change them, but they've already been pre-programmed. So you'll notice in the screen that I've been using the factory settings. And of course there were 5 buttons. Each one has 8. Many sounds to choose from. Well, there's user settings that you can set up for your own favorite settings you'd like to have. And when you're using just the arranger, it only affects the right side. It doesn't do anything else. So you can have 40 different favorite sounds available. Displays them in the screen. All right, you can set your sounds up for super tones number 1. We can go ahead and select it, execute, and there it will be. All right, so this is just another place, but they are available right from the tab panel. And then the user style composer, this is a function and feature I'll get into in just a while, but basically what this is going to do allows you to take a recording on a standard MIDI file and select bits and pieces of that song and create a style from it. Okay, so that's really nifty. And then I'll be back in a moment and we'll discuss the Song Composer button and its features. And it's basically so you can record your own songs. Now this next button is the Song Composer button. And this basically is where you do your recording. It can be a very complex recording or a very easy recording. I'd like to show you the easy version. Is that basically I've set the instrument up. Set my music style. I've got my one touch ready to go, the introduction. So I'll just press record. Then I'll press the first chord of my song. Now you notice in the screen, measure 4, measure 5. Let's do an ending. Alright, now at this point, it stopped on its own recording because it knows there's no more data being sent. See in the stop icon, it's got a square, slash, and then the little arrows. Okay, if you could have stopped the recording by pressing this, or if you press this, again, see how it went back to measure 1? So if I push play, it's going to play back exactly what we did. -1 actually means we can delete parts, and it's specifically the melody, but showing you that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, 10, and 11 were recorded on. So if we hear the playback, I can solo a part. Let's say we do the melody. Okay, it's just only going to play back the melody when it comes in. Or I can just turn the melody, then I can actually just play along, with that recording. Just as if you load a song from disk, well, you got to know exactly the place to find the song, so this would be it, and to delete a part. Okay, the metronome. I could have had it just like at the earlier part of the video. I told you have a 1-bar count in, a 2-bar count in. Have it always on if I play. Always on if I'm ready to record. It'll always come on. It's kind of my choice here. But we'll back up to our main page again. You can transpose the song. Transpose the internal song. Okay, so that's kind of nifty that you can do all of that just from the main screen. If the song has lyrics on it, well, you press lyrics and it's going to show the lyrics. And, there's many discs that are available to do that now. Go back to transpose and just put it on normal. There we go. The song has been named song underscore. That's what that little line is, 001. The instrument just knows it's the first song you're recording, so it's going to give it a name. If you like this song, we need to save it at one point, and I'll get into that. But, the instrument does give it a name. If we want to look at a 16-track picture of what we've done, here we go. This is where much of the editing is done. Once again, it shows you that we've recorded on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The different parts have been recorded on. I can solo the track just like I did before. I can actually see different tones that was selected for different tracks. Isn't this nice? Track 1 was using the guitar. And to enjoy all of this, you really just need to take your time at doing it. But there's one key icon on this page. It's called Edit. So here's where we go. It's showing me track 1. I can erase it, delete it, insert. You can literally take notes from another track and put them into this track. You can transpose only track 1. This is like individual. The velocity, let's say you were playing and you notice some of the notes were soft, but you actually played the note. Well, that's the way you touched it. You can go in and find the note, raise its velocity up, and now the song is corrected. In many cases, people re-record melody lines over because they think they've have missed a note. Well, the note's been recorded. You just didn't play it hard enough. Here you can actually correct it. Quantize, very interesting feature, normally used with drums as opposed to melody, because melody you'd want to have the live feeling to it. Quantizing is going to literally just put everything in an order of the 8th beat or the 16th, however you would have this set to do. Okay, and then gating a track is like basically if you have any little glitches in there, you can drop that out. They have that in audio recordings as well. And then shift, I can take track 1 to track 4, shift things around. Great feature. Okay, so I just wanted to explore those features with you. And then the utility, once again, it's showing me the name of the song. I can copy this over, exchange tracks, name it, whatever I want. And once again, we have our little keypad like we've had before. Initialize, that's just like, it's going to erase the song, the time signature, everything gets kind of started from the beginning. So be careful if you use that. It has like a warning emblem right here. There's only a couple things on the instrument that you'll notice in the owner's manual that it says, be careful before you actually push the execute. So your basic function of recording, that's how it's done. Okay? Now just a couple more features that are on the screen that you're seeing is that if there's a couple of parts of the song you'd like to review. This doesn't have to be a song that you've recorded. It could be a song that you've loaded from disk. But let me just push play. It says A, D. I'm going to push this. And I'll push this. Now, it's going to play, it's going to find that and play just those back and forth, those measures. See right there, it's jumping. 4, back to 3, That's just an example, but you can actually select, rehearsal parts, or even during live performance, you may want to, if there's an introduction of a song, push that A real quick, and then the song goes through, and then push B. It'll automatically start the song over for you. So, great feature to use. The song list icon, it's exactly what it says. I have my zip disk in. These are all the songs I have on the zip disk. Okay? It's kind of neat. You can find things in different order as well if you'd like to. Is that if you want to find, let's say, songs that start with W. Well, there, it found the first one. So you can give it 1 or 2 characters, and it will find in alphabetical order, or file name, because I can have it find file name, the type, the author of the song, or the song title. Basically, I was going with just the file name. And that works on the floppy disk as well. Once you have a song you like, let's see, really makes no difference. We can do this. You press load, and now it's ready to play. Press play. And I can go back to the main screen here. Once again, -1 deletes the melody. If I want to see all the tracks, I can look at it there. I can just edit the song. And just briefly, song chain is that if you have multiple songs on the disc, and you want to play this song, then that song, then this song, then that song in any specific order, you do it through the song chain. So take your time and explore this song composer feature. And my suggestion is, first of all, just do an easy record and see what's happening, and then from there on you can do the multi-track recordings. All right, so I'll be back in a moment, and we're going to talk about this veriphrase. It's so much fun. Now, this next section is about the veriphrase. And veriphrase is a new exclusive feature with Roland. And it's basically it's where you can record either your voice or audio in and play back actually with multiple notes. This has never been available before. Normally, if you sampled or recorded yourself, you would basically have to play a single note to play back what you recorded. Veriphrase actually gives you this capability. And if you remember, I said there was a microphone input. That's where you'd put the microphone to do your recording. Now, I've already pre-recorded some notes, and happy birthday actually is what it is. What I do want you to know is that there's preset and pre-programmed veriphrases. There's background, and they're just they're different ones. I'm sure you've already experimented with these. And then the melodic,
Oh, darling,
or baby, baby,
baby,
your love, oh baby,
ooh, baby,
set me free.
set me free.
Let's go to the rhythmic. Now that's going to be more of in a pattern.
Do it, da, 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 do it.
Let's do this one here.
Da, ba, da, da, ba, da, da, ba, da.
Okay, so these are preset in the instrument. And you see it says user. Well, you can actually, this is where you save your recorded samples. Now, after you've recorded your sample, naturally you're going to save it on the zip disk because it holds a lot of information that you wouldn't be able to save it onto a 3.5-inch disc. Maybe if it's short recording you could, but normally you need the zip disk. So I just want to let you hear some pre-recordings that we've done here in the instrument. Actually, here we go. Now, I set my user program to call up the correct user recording. So let me play one note.
Happy birthday to you.
Okay, that's the note that we recorded it on. That's the tone that we recorded it on. However, in the past, instruments that recorded, if you played a note higher, it would be higher and faster.
Happy birthday to you.
It totally loses its characteristic. And if you play a note lower, well, it's slower and deeper.
Happy birthday
Well, not too usable, except if you play this one note.
Happy birthday.
Veriphrase, I'll push this because I've set it to now do like a chord.
Happy birthday to you.
So now it's going to be able to play multiple notes. So what I'll do is on my next preset, I actually added reverb and I have a musical background ready.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
You can play chords.
Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
That's pretty nifty, isn't it? But that's the whole point behind Veriphrase. Now, as you explore Veriphrase, you'll find out that it can be very sensitive. Is that even when you take a breath, like that is also recorded. So you have a point, you can edit that out or erase that part at the end of it. So you'll want to do some editing on your recording so it's very clean and clear. Okay, so Veriphrase is it's the first time ever, and you have an instrument that's the only keyboard that has a feature called Veriphrase. So please, once again, take your time and enjoy this feature. You know, I just wanted to give you a few more ideas about Veriphrase. Is that there's a selection of Veriphrase zip disks that's available. This is like a world zip disk from Mexico and Europe, and different types of Veriphrases from different countries. And here's a pop and rock Veriphrase zip disk, and then there's a jazz and R&B zip disk, as well as a gospel. And I just want to show you how the package is, and there's actually the disc is included in here. Okay. Naturally, you would, put the zip disk in, press function menu, go into the zip disk and load the Veriphrase. You know how to do that. And then from that point, just remember at the earlier part of the video how I talked about you could split the right side of the keyboard. Well, this is very unique because you find a Veriphrase you like for a certain song, you can play the Veriphrase, hold the sustain pedal down, and it will continue to play that. And then you'll have your notes to the left, if that's where you're going to play your melody, to play along with. So they're very usable and very exciting to use. Okay, so I hope you take advantage of the Veriphrase feature. Now this next part is to discuss and for me to show you how to use a style converter. The style converter is where you can actually take a song, load it into the instrument, and kind of cut and paste different parts to create the intro and the ending and the variations. Let's do that. Let's load a song now. So I'll go to the song list, floppy disk, there's my song, load, and we'll hear some of the playback of this song. There we go. Now, at this point, here's what you do. If you've loaded the song, play it maybe just to make sure it's there. Press 16-track sequencer. And on the bottom of the screen is an icon that says Style Converter. Press that. Then on Setup, using the dial, you want to select All Tracks. See right here, if you go one way or the other, select all the tracks. And then from this point, what we're going to do is dissect the song. Now, I've actually listened to it, and I'm going to go from measure 3. Show me my measures and push marker A. So it's 3. For 4 measures, marker B. Then send that to, this is our concern, the division, is send it to the intro. These are the different parts. All right, our primarily one we want to start with is intro, execute. Now it's saving that bit of the song as the introduction of the style. Now we'll back up, and I want to go from measure 10, marker A, for 1 measure, marker B, and I want to send those to the original, execute. So these are just the parts, the intro, the original, the filter variation, filter original, and the ending. Now our next part from measure 34, and if you actually just hold this down, it zips right through. 34 for one measure. And I want to send that to the fill to a variation, right there. Fill to variation, execute. It's kind of important that you do all these parts because, you know, below the screen we have the intro, the fill, the variation, the original, and the ending. So you want to put these parts in. Okay, now we're going to do the variation part, and that's going to be from measure 26. There we go. Hold this down. Shows 26 for one measure. Marker B, 27. Great. And we want to select variation. Then I'm using the dial, variation, execute. Now we only have two more parts of the style we're going to put together. The next one is the fill to original, but once again, I selected measure 20 as my beginning, and I'm going to do it for one measure. See? 2, the fill to original. There it is. Execute. Of course, after this is all through, we'll save it onto a disk. You'd want to save your work as you go. And we'll back up, and we go to measure 53. There we go. Marker A. There we go. And we're going to do it for 3 measures. Marker B, 56. And send that to the ending. Execute. Now at this point, it's going to give me an opportunity to name the style. Of course, I can name it anything I want, but I think I'll just use name that it creates for me. I had pressed exit and asked me, do I wish to save this? Yes. And of course, I could save it to the floppy or to a zip. I'll just save it to the floppy, and it's called user style is the name. If I go execute, I'm going to save it to my 3.5-inch disk. Actually, I'd already done this before, but I'm going to replace it back on the disk. That's good to know. Okay, so now we've saved it. We exit. And then in the user part, see, here's where all our styles have been. Then we have the disk user. There it is. Let's say we load it one more time. It's already loaded. Okay, we don't need to load it again. And now, let's hear the introduction of the style that we created. There you have it. And after the introduction, it's going to do the next part. And of course, the ending will be there. If I do the ending. Okay, so that's what we did. We took a song, we cut out bits and pieces of it, and created a style. Something you'll want to, do a couple of times, rehearse, listen to the song, but that's how you convert a style. Folks, we hope you've enjoyed this video owner's manual for the VA7. Like I've said several times, you should enjoy each feature. You won't use them all the time, but there are many features to use. And the veriphrase is fun and it's exciting. You probably find the most uses when you incorporate additional veriphrases that are available. Okay, so thank you very much. It's been our pleasure to bring this VA7 video owner's manual to you.